So I was like reading a little bit. I was reading this article on before you got into real estate and investing, you were actually doing or making your own social media agency, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I started that when I was 19, and basically I was just going to like local mom and pop shops here in Tulsa and just doing their Facebook and Instagram ads for them.
So was that your very first taste of entrepreneurship, or did you have like other side hustles?
I would say that's like officially, my very first taste, because that's when I actually made an LLC, and actually started making money. I dabbled into things like drop shipping and stuff like that, but that was definitely, where I received my first paycheck for a service that I did.
All right. But what made you go into like entrepreneurship? Was like, did you want to do it like to make extra money? Was like school not for you? Because at 19, I think you're maybe a senior in high school, freshman in college.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, I was a terrible student all throughout high school and even college. So my first year in college, I actually got put on academic probation for a year because I had a 1.8 GPA. So I had to take off of school for a full entire year. And that's actually when I did the social media marketing agency. And I think it was just, I learned very quickly. I've worked a ton of different jobs. I mean, from everything from like framing construction to restaurants, gyms, like
Mm-hmm.
everything pretty much. And I always knew like the working for somebody else never made any sense to me. And even when I had a full-time corporate job out of college, I know I'm kind of skipping ahead, but it was just always in my head, like, man, I'm busting my ass for some dude that's drinking a Corona on the beach right now, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, that does make sense. And it's good that you had that experience because not everyone gets a job before, getting a 9 to 5, right? And getting that
Right.
experience kind of just helps you make that decision, because I feel like a lot of college students now, they'll be like, hey, once I graduate, I'm going to make a nice amount of money. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to get promoted and move up the ladder, right?
Right.
But once they graduate, once they find their first job, they quickly realize like, oh, damn, like these 4 years, been a waste kind of because I don't want to work on this one thing, and
Exactly.
they kind of created a situation where they don't want to be in, they don't want to work for that company and they're not happy. So I think if you just work early, get that experience to see, hey, if you like it, maybe you can continue what you're doing. And another note is that like, since you work for all these companies and you create like a social media agency, you kind of have like a back end view or a better insight on how these companies kind of work. So you have if that makes sense.
For sure. No, yeah. And I totally agree with the point of, the traditional kid, I guess, is going to college for 4 years. They're fucking off doing frat parties and stuff. And, that, like you said, the whole time they're thinking, I'm going to get out. Everyone says make 100 grand. For some reason, that's a magical number to everybody. That's not even a lot of money. And, that's just what everybody's plan is apparently when they go to college, and they never have any work experience. So then when they get out, they're in shock and they're like, whoa, this is how it really is. And then you're stuck because you have $200,000 in student loans, and
Mm-hmm.
it just gets nasty. And that's why I think, in my honest opinion, universities are falling apart, especially with the whole COVID thing now. I mean, it's going to be an interesting next 5 years with universities. I really
Mm-hmm.
think so,
Yeah.
especially how everything's going digital now. So we'll see how it goes, but
Yeah,
yeah.
there's so many online resources that one can learn from. But to
Oh
keep it real, is to keep it real. So once you were in that moment where you're on academic probation and you had a year off, I think a lot of people can fold. They can
oh
be
yeah,
they can be extremely anxious because school and then work is the only route to making a living. Now, did that happen to you, or were you like on full survivor mode, full hustle mode, and just find ways to make money?
so yeah, I mean, like, if I'm being real, it wasn't the easiest thing to, my parents were obviously really pissed off at me. I actually moved to California for like 6 months, and I was just working construction there. And I had a boss there that would tell me how stupid I was every day, and yeah, it was like it was honestly one of the hardest points in my life. And when I got back to Oklahoma, I just started researching online. Like, I see all these freaking 20-year-olds on Instagram making all this money and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, basically it was just, I needed to start something. I knew that what I was going to college for is not what I wanted to do. For the rest of my life for sure. And so I always knew I needed an end game. And that's actually what transitioned me to real estate, is because interestingly enough, I've always been interested in real estate, and I've always studied people who got wealthy through real estate. So I always knew that was like the thing, it was always on my mind. I never knew how to get it or how to create wealth in it. It was just always towards real estate.
Mm-hmm. And did you kind of save up enough capital to get into real estate? So did you make enough money through your business, your social media agency? And then from that money that you had invested in real estate?
No, actually. So I really didn't even do the social media thing for that long. When I was like 20, it just wasn't working out for me or my clients, and no one was really happy. And I wasn't that good at it, to be honest with you. So when I eventually got like a corporate job when I was 21, I got into wholesaling real estate, and I found a mentor. His name's Tommy Holt. He's out of Atlanta. And I just started hustling for deals. And I remember I did my first real estate deal ever, and it was for $2,500. So I'm making 17 an hour, I'm not making a lot of money at all. I made $2,500. So we're not talking a huge check or anything, And I remember I'm on top of a roof at a mall here in Oklahoma. I call my boss and say, come pick me up, I'm done. And from there, I just went full force, took that $2,500 and just kept going and grinding for deals.
Wait, but to make that deal, were you like an official like realtor, real estate agent? Did you have a license?
No, not licensed. I'm just in wholesaling real estate. So
okay,
an investor, I guess you could say. I don't know if you're familiar with wholesaling real estate at all.
No, just a little bit. But
Okay.
So did you first find your mentor to get into real estate, or did you kind of dive into real estate investing first, and then after a while get a mentor? Because I know real estate in general, there's a lot of things, a lot of nuances that one has to learn, and I hear this from time and time again, that having a mentor who has been in the game in real estate at least helps a lot, because there's so many nuances and so many steps to learn to get to where you want to be.
Definitely. Yeah. So I was trying the wholesaling by myself at first, and I quickly realized I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I was listening to Max Maxwell's podcast all the time, and I was watching his videos all the time. And Tommy Holt was on his podcast, and he was talking about how he just launched a course, and there was, video calls and blah, blah, blah. So I went to his website, and I actually booked a call with him, and he just kept it 100% real with me. And I respected it. And he was like, man, I don't need you to join my course. I make money through wholesaling and through my real estate. I don't need you to go buy my course, but you really don't know what you're doing. And I think, it would help a lot. And so ended up enrolling into his course, and he taught me a lot, just the aspect of networking with other investors in my local community. And, of course I've met, little mentors along the way. And really from there, I learned a lot from all the other investors in my market, and just pretty much took it off from there.
So you think it's important for anyone who's kind of starting out to find that community either online or locally to kind of help build their portfolio and understand the game better?
For sure. Yeah. That's actually the one thing that when people ask me, that's pretty much the number one thing that I always say, go find a mentor. And, I'm not going to tell you who to find, but there's plenty of them out there. And I think it's super, super important, because you run into a lot of things that you've never ran into, that they have. And because there's so much that goes into it, and it's kind of impossible to do everything on your own. I know a lot of people, and it's natural, we get our egos involved, and, we think we can do everything on our own, but, even if you study the wealthiest people ever, none of them do anything on their own.
So kind of describe that moment of like your process into real estate prior to your mentor and then after. Like, how did it look like? How's the process of it?
For sure. Yeah. So pretty much like before my mentor, I was just analyzing deals wrong. I couldn't get my numbers straight at all. And um, I was just doing like the most basic kind of marketing, pretty much just by hand driving and getting leads that way. But when I met my mentor, it really shifted when we did like a 30-day challenge. And basically I've learned so much through like the different technologies of marketing. So whether that's like text blasting, ringless voicemails, direct mail, deal machine, different kind of apps and stuff that gear towards wholesaling, and really just understanding a deal, when to know if it's a deal and how to make it work through creative financing and all that other sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wait, just to give like some context, my bad, is
no, you're good.
what different types of like real estate investing are there? Because like I'm not too familiar with wholesaling,
Uh-huh.
but are there different like markets or strategies into investing in real estate?
For sure. Yeah, man. There's wholesaling real estate's like my primary core company, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
And I pretty much have it automated now. But basically, what wholesaling is you find a distressed property and you get it under contract at a discounted rate. And then you actually sell that contract to another investor. And so with a fee on top. So if I got let's just do some simple math. If I got a house under contract for 100,000 and I sold it to an investor for 120, I get that $20,000 split.
Okay.
So that's one aspect of real estate. And there's, buy and hold investing, which is, rental properties. There's flipping, Airbnbs, syndication. There's a ton of stuff that you can do in real estate. That's why I love it. It's just so vast. And but basically, I kind of consider myself like everything real estate, because my core company is wholesaling. I do flips and I have rentals and I have Airbnbs. And my mentor is actually another person who really got me into the Airbnb side of investing.
Okay. You're also the founder of Triad Investment, right?
Yes, that's my wholesale company. Yeah.
Okay. And how long did it take you to get to that point of having your own like LLC, your own company?
Well, the LLC was super simple. I mean, it's just really just a piece of paper, but
Mm-hmm.
I guess to get to like to a team, it takes a long time, and that's just the truth. And because you have to go through so many trials and errors, and I mean, we've had virtual assistants and different people that have worked for us that just didn't work out, and it's just a constant game of managing a million things at once and just trying to get to that next level.
Mm-hmm. And how big is your team right now?
So we do things kind of differently. Like our lead management and stuff like that. That's pretty much, we have it in such a good system that it's pretty much automated as far as the lead management goes. And then we have a team of 3 drivers. And so basically they drive around and drive for dollars, which is essentially you're driving around looking for distressed properties. And we use this app called Deal Machine where they can get on there, they can pull up the property, take a picture of the property and send them a postcard immediately.
Okay. Wait, can you give us kind of like a simple block diagram of how like what the process is of, finding a home? Because I think you mentioned that you use the burst strategy,
Yeah.
right? So what's kind of like the block diagram of making that, buying a real estate investment or a property and then all the way down to refinancing it?
Okay. Well, in my advice, I would say try to find a property from a wholesaler because they have a lot of good discounted deals, and they're on the MLS too. They're just a little bit harder. You're battling with a lot more people, and the way I like to do BRRRRs is use hard money, which is a whole other conversation. But essentially you're doing it with no money out of your pocket at a high interest rate. And so while you're carrying that high interest rate note, you're rehabbing the property. Once you complete your rehabbing, you go to your bank, refinance it, cash your hard money people out, and hopefully you make some money on the refinance from the value of the property and the appraisal and the LTV that your bank is going to give you.
And has there been times where, you think they're going to make like a net profit, a net investment, but in the end, you're in the hole?
I haven't been in the hole yet, thank God. But my first flip was a failed flip. So I actually still have that property as a rental property right now.
It seems so intuitive, but I know for sure it's not. What are like some things that, you really have to know to get this right?
I think, if you're using hard money, you have to know your numbers right. And that's the thing with real estate is it's not like some like HGTV thing, right? Like real estate is it's just a numbers game. There's no emotions involved. And that's pretty much all it is. If you have your numbers right, you can't lose. So that's the reason why on my first failed flip, I didn't lose technically. I still own that property. I'm still making money on that property. I had to use a different exit strategy than I was planning to use. But yeah, I mean, if you mess up on your numbers, especially with hard money, man, you can definitely get into some trouble because you're using someone else's money at a very high interest rate. So, and yeah, it's just really understanding your market, of course, how much the property is actually worth, how much the repairs are actually going to cost. And, unfortunately finding contractors and reliable contractors and people that you can trust, that's a whole other learning curve. And just really nailing down, your rehab cost and your deadline of when to finish the project. That way you have enough time to refinance the property and go out and pay your investors back.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the most important things, like this, making sure that your investors are happy. And, there's so many moving parts, like you said, with the contractors and whatnot. I think there's so many moving parts that are really, really important. And that's why maybe just doing this by yourself can be almost virtually impossible. At least it's possible by a very, very slow rate. If you have like a partner or a team behind you, I think it's much better. And that goes for anything in business,
right.
Having that one other person, that partner, with a different like skill set can really add value. Because if you have two people with the same skill set, then, you can have nothing to offer really. But if you have, I guess, like your mentor has tons of experience, your other team members who have other skill sets, then you just create a group like that is just willing to learn more and, interact in such ways that kind of complement each other's skills and whatnot.
Sure.
But okay, so what's the transition? So your wholesale real estate is your bread and butter, right? Now, how did you get into, with Airbnb? I think that's a different thing altogether.
Absolutely. Yeah. Completely different. I basically got into it because I saw my mentor making a lot more money than he does off of his traditional rentals from Airbnb. And I never really thought about doing Airbnb. And so I actually did his whole entire Airbnb course. And I'm the kind of guy, like, as soon as I learn something and and I like it and I want to go after it, I do it immediately. Like I have no, like, that's kind of like a rule with me. I don't analyze too much of like, can this fail, blah, blah, blah. I just do it. I attack it. I just go for it. So really, I got my first Airbnb property almost a full year ago now. And in October of last year. So that was my first one. And since I had studied Airbnb so much and the algorithm of it and how to analyze, your photos on Airbnb, and I've never been under 94% occupied. When COVID first hit, the first freak out, everyone canceled. But other than that, yeah, it's been awesome. And so I've got 3 Airbnbs right now and definitely looking to scale that up. And COVID kind of threw a monkey wrench in everyone's plans. I was planning to get 10 by the end of the year, but it's all good. We're gonna keep on trekking on. So
Yeah, I heard Airbnb, they're really in trouble. But you mentioned something about once you learn something, you attack it. And I think that's very important because if you want to learn anything, go into any business model, I'm pretty sure you can go on Reddit or Google something and somewhere is going to be, hey, like this market is way too saturated. Don't even bother. And then on the other side of the spectrum, people are like, hey, I'm making money. And then you're kind of stuck in the middle. You're unsure. But if you just take that action and learn from yourself and see for yourself, then it becomes real, right?
right,
And it's
for
really
sure.
easy to like learn or read other sources and be like, hey, like they can easily convince you not to do it. But I think giving a stab at it and trying it and seeing it for yourself is the best indicator. And it's good that you
Right,
just took that action.
for sure. And not even just people online telling you that you can't do it. I mean, your parents, your family, your friends, like, girlfriend, whatever, boyfriend, um, that's a huge impact in your thought process. And, if I listen to everybody, everyone told me that Airbnb wasn't going to work for me in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, literally everyone, but it works, and I make really good money on it every month. It pays my bills and some. So, um, yeah, and that's like the hardest part, right? Is just getting over the people who say that you or whatever's going to fail. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you kind of discover like, I feel like if I'm in that scenario where, things are just going really, really bad and they say like at those times, like you kind of see who's the realist, friends,
Oh,
family.
for sure.
And then once you kind of went through that slump and now that you're killing it as of this moment, have you kind of changed your perspective on certain people? Like has your mindset kind of changed in that respect?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not trying to upset anyone, but most people my age, they're into the partying and the drinking and the smoking weed and all that stuff. And I used to be like that, and I've just completely changed. My mindset has done a complete 180. I literally show up and work every single day. I'm listening to podcasts, reading, just always constantly improving myself, working out, whatever it is. I feel like it's much more beneficial to do that kind of stuff. That way, in 10 years, if I want to party all the time, I can. And but yeah, man, I mean, if we're being real, I don't really have that many friends anymore. You know, it's just kind of how it is. You know, you know, uh, Elon Musk says eagles fly alone, and I truly believe that. So
No, it's definitely true. I think if you're in your own zone, um, it just sucks because if you're doing your own thing and you're so busy, other people looking in, they might not understand what you're doing and you'd be like,
right,
hey, take a break. But the thing is that you may like love this and this might like, for example, if you work on something and you love it and people might be like, hey, you're doing too much work, but for you, it may not be work. It's just something that you just love doing. And,
right,
and it's good to take breaks every once in a while, but not everyone's going to understand like what your true ambition is because everyone's still stuck with the notion of, hey, like you work 9 to 5 and after that, do whatever you want, have fun. Um, but I think like a lot of entrepreneurs, like they feel lonely sometimes, and I think it's a normal thing because you're working on your grind, on your hustle, and there's not too many people. I mean, there's a large community of entrepreneurs, but for the most part, out of the whole population, everyone's kind of following that one systematic way of life. Going through
yeah,
high school and going to college and then working a full time job. I'm not saying that's bad, but everyone kind of expects you to have that lifestyle, and if you don't, then they're not going to understand.
for sure. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And that's the thing. Like, if I wanted my wholesaling business to be completely automated to where I never had to do anything again, I could. But I really do. I enjoy wholesaling real estate, and and I love the Burr aspect of real estate and the flipping, and I like being hands on for the most part. And that's, yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Hmm. Do a lot of people reach out to you for like mentorship or help?
Yeah, for sure. I actually have a call thing in my Instagram bio that anyone can book anytime. I do $30 30-minute calls, which is, in my opinion, way undervalued because I'll sit down and I'll go through a whole entire deal with you if you want. I mean, I'll literally, if you're paying me, I'm going to make sure that you get value out of it. And I have quite a few people, I get 3 or 4 of those a week. And yeah, people are always DMing me, of course. And
Yeah, I think it's a good way because with the course, of course you can lay out all the things that you need to know. But if you come with very specific questions for that phone call, like
right.
maybe that person's already kind of into real estate, but if they have more specific questions where like a course can't answer,
Right.
you can be a really good added resource with your experience
For
to
sure.
answer those questions.
And it's also just where I'm at in my life right now. I could create a course tomorrow, but it's really the fact of, I don't think I really want to be the guy that's doing the courses yet,
No, I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
Let me know if you agree on this, but a lot of entrepreneurs say they don't want to sell courses because literally everyone's doing it. And they say, hey, because everyone's doing it, not everyone's honest about their courses. And that's why they don't want to sell it, because they don't want to sound like a scam. And with the phone call, they know that they're calling you. They're going to have you directly on the line.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's true? Like people are creating too many courses and it's being distilled by like real courses versus ones that are just trying to scam you?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that's kind of the day that we're in right now is everyone's just trying to make money online. Right. So people are creating these courses that probably don't even really tell you what you need to do to be in whatever industry it's in. But yeah, I mean, and that's kind of why I'm leaning more towards the phone calls, and because it's a lot more personable, and one thing that I've thought about and that I'm definitely going to be doing here pretty soon is doing a group Zoom call meeting. So I'm going to probably do it, $49 a month, and it'll come with 3 calls a month or something. So, there could be a group of 50 people on there, but if you have any questions, you just come on there, ask them live. I'm going to be live on Zoom with you. So essentially like a real estate class kind of deal.
Is that is it a thought or is it in the works right now?
It's in the works. It's in the works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's cool. Creating a kind of like a real community, face-to-face community within each other.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing that I'm trying to do right now. I'm shifting more towards focusing on branding and really building my community. So
yeah. Do you have a Discord? I see like a lot of people, at least in terms of like day trading, long-term trading, they have a lot of Discord groups and a lot of people join that.
I don't have a Discord. I've seen that though with the day trading and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out because I really don't even know how Discord works. I think is it just like a phone call thing?
I mean, I've seen the app. Like before, I thought it was just for video games, but it seems like it's
that's what I thought.
The way I look at it now is kind of a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group, but with a lot more functionality. So by that, say imagine a WhatsApp group chat, but then there's tabs that you can insert information, PDFs, articles, and
that's cool.
Posts. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I made an account, but I never used it. But that's the best way I can kind of describe it. It's just a WhatsApp account with a lot more functionality to kind of express your feelings, show your data, resources, and stuff alike. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds pretty neat. I need to definitely check that out.
No, because a lot of like people on TikTok, they in the investment world, they have their Discord groups. Okay. And a lot of people join that because a lot of young people now are into investing.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I need to like look at it again. But that'll be a good opportunity to kind of expand your community and create a brand. But going back to your Airbnb management, what's the difference between that and rental properties?
As far as
like the model.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the business model of it.
The rental properties, you're just getting a traditional renter in there, 1-year lease. From what I've experienced, I'm making a lot more cash flow perspective from Airbnbs, because I guess the simplest way to put it is you have a rental and it's $1,000 a month. That doesn't equate to if you have a house and another house and it's $100 a night with a cleaning fee. And so, it might be 180 a night realistically. And, some people book whole weekends, whole weeks, even months sometimes. And just, the like overhead, it sounds silly because there's not technically overhead, but of Airbnb is a lot more simpler because, it's just an in and out kind of deal. You get your cleaning lady in there, boom. And, rental, you're paying property taxes and your maintenance. And you do all that with Airbnb as well. But from my model of Airbnb, I'm actually not even owning the property. What I'm doing is I'm subleasing it from another landlord. So it might be $850 a month in rent, and I'm paying that through my Airbnb proceeds. So that way I take care of all the minor maintenance, and that's pretty much the only cost that I have versus a rental. You have all these other costs,
Yeah, I was going to say, like, if they go to your Airbnbs every weekend, the weekdays are going to be not going to be occupied. So you're losing money. But if you have like a fixed rate of $850 a month from the sublease, and you're charging, or you have multiple people, then you can have good cash flow. But in terms of the paperwork, like, how does that work out? You go to a sublease, you don't own the property, yet you're letting people stay there in and out.
Yeah. So where a lot of people mess up is that they like don't tell the landlord, which is the wrong thing to do because you can get sued for that. That's like a huge, because if we're going back to TikTok, even with wholesaling real estate, you see this all the time. It's so easy. All you got to do is this and that. Like that stuff needs to stop, because I'm starting to see people that I don't even think have done a single real estate transaction. But yeah, I mean, the very first thing is letting the landlord know what you do, and it's all about the language, right? So what am I? I'm a corporate leasing company, and I lease this property out to professional clients. So whether that be a VRBO for a nurse or for businessmen or whatever. And yeah, it's really not that difficult. Just in the typical lease agreement, you just kind of change the verbiage a little bit, saying that the landlord is allowing you to sublease the property to lease it out to others.
I feel like there's so many things, so many moving parts in your business, in your company. How does your day-to-day operation look like?
So basically, are we talking Airbnb or just
No,
all
like in general, like a day in the life of Logan.
day in life in Logan? Okay. I'm getting a phone call. Call that back. But yeah, basically, wake up, go work out. I enjoy my mornings. That's first thing. And I'm always hunting for properties, whether it's for wholesaling or for personal, burr flip strategy. So, I get lead intake automatically through wholesaling and through text campaigns and postcards and all different kinds of marketing. So I'm setting appointments all day, following up with potential leads and all that, and just really setting up for my next deal. And just I probably go look at 3 to 5 properties almost every day. So just always hunting for the next deal.
You kind of have an ambition of like, hey, I want to get 100 properties every year, and yeah, like, do you kind of have like that ambition, or are you just every day looking for more and more and more? You don't keep track of everything like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have like a set number. Like a lot of people, say I want to do like 20 flips this year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get as much as I can. And I mean, yeah, I mean, I want to own 1,000 doors one day, and I want to be a legit landlord, like the the definition of a landlord. But yeah, I mean, of course I have goals. Like I said, I was trying to get up to 10 Airbnbs this month, and COVID kind of threw a monkey wrench in that, and that's fine, but yeah, I don't really have a set number because I think it's kind of limitless. It's kind of what you want to do, or
Yeah,
where you want to stop at. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. So
I feel you. And what about in terms of your personal brand? Because you still have like a large like social media following on Instagram. I see you go heavy on that. Um, you said that's something that you're trying to really attack as well, right? Building a social media brand, a personal brand. Sorry.
for sure, yeah, and I do need to incorporate that more into my daily lifestyle. I need to start pumping out more content. I'm trying to do as much as I can right now, and but being a one-man shop on the social media side is difficult too, because I
Yeah.
don't have someone following me, documenting me like Gary Vee and Max Maxwell. But I'm getting there, and it'll happen for sure pretty soon. So
What do you use now besides Instagram?
I literally only use LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Have you gotten any like indirect sales from those?
Yeah, as far as like real estate deals,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah. So we do Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and
Okay.
yeah.
Is that like an important strategy that you have as well to get sales?
For sure, yeah. I think it's almost like an untapped market for real estate when it comes to wholesaling. I just don't think a lot of people really know how to do it properly, and they aren't utilizing it to the way that they can.
Wait, but do you do it through your own personal brand or do you do it through Triad Investment,
Through
like those
Triad
ads?
Investment.
Okay.
Yeah. So Logan Invest, my Instagram page is a completely different
Okay.
business. Yeah.
So do you guys kind of have a strategy on how much ad spend do you do like every month to get some potential clients, some potential buyers?
Yeah, so when it comes to like Facebook and Instagram ads, we're looking at like $75 a lead.
Okay.
So, our monthly lead cost is around 4 grand, and we do anywhere from 5 to 10 deals a month. So we're bringing in anywhere from 40 to 100,000 every single month.
Mm-hmm. And in your line of work, what do you think, or at least in your experience, what do you think is the most kind of challenging aspect of, either, managing a property, doing the burst strategy, flipping houses? What do you think, in your opinion, is like the most challenging thing?
I think wholesaling is the most challenging thing, and that's why all these little TikToks piss me off. I don't think people understand the amount of work that goes into wholesaling, right? It sounds so simple. You put a house under contract and you sell that contract. But there's a whole lot more to it as far as, managing the leads, following up with leads that you haven't talked to in 3 months that were kind of interested. Just and organization's a huge part of it as well. And really like filtering your leads, double hitting your lists, and squeezing down your list to niche lists, and then hitting that list. And yeah, I mean, there's a ton of moving parts in wholesaling, and that's why I can't stand those TikToks, man.
I mean, it's tough to kind of explain everything in 15, 30 seconds,
No, I
but
agree.
it's a good summary. But in reality, if you talk about the burst strategy between the B and R, or for each letter, there's a lot more letters in there that kind of have to explain everything. It'll be like a 30 like hour video if you want to explain everything.
For
But
sure.
yeah, there's so much things that go between, buying and then doing the rehab. There's so many nuances with anything in general too.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you think are like golden nuggets that you wish you've learned kind of right away? You said once you had your mentor, things really changed. But for a new, like for a newbie, for a beginner, if they're into real estate investing, do you think, I guess the most important thing is to find someone who has experience, maybe a partner, a mentor? Do you think that's the most essential step into real estate investing if you're going to do wholesale more especially?
Yeah. I think that and knowing your numbers and your market is huge. Because, you send me anything in Tulsa, I know where it is directly from the address.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just strong because it makes the process a lot faster. And when you nail down your numbers, like there's not a deal that comes across my desk that I'm like, oh man, I probably can't sell this. Like I know I can sell it because I got it at the right number.
And so when you run the numbers, are there any hidden costs that you kind of had to add on? Because I don't know, I just feel that there can be hidden fees, hidden costs that you may not know of, maybe even during the rehab stage of an investment. I don't know.
For sure. I mean, yeah, if you pull back a wall and there's termites, you're not going to. So you always got to add a cushion within your numbers, and I do it through a certain formula that I'm really comfortable with, and but yeah, and even with that's a lot of and for all the newbies and stuff, there's a lot more fees to. I see a lot of people like, why won't anybody buy this deal? Well, because yeah, it may look like a good deal to you, but for an end investor, there's realtor fees, there's closing costs, and all that stuff, holding costs, taxes, all that stuff has to be taken into account. And so that's why I use, this basic formula to really run all my numbers off of, whether I'm buying or I'm wholesaling.
So at this point, are you literally doing everything, like down to, the negotiation, running the numbers? I feel like this can be extremely, extremely overwhelming, doing everything. Do you kind of still have, like, say, virtual assistants to kind of run the numbers for you at least?
So I don't have a virtual assistant, but I do have not anymore. We don't have a virtual assistant, but I do have a partner who does pretty much all the back office work, because I'm one that does not like all that. So like
Mm-hmm.
lead management, lead organization, and all that stuff he does. I'm more of like on the field. Like I love going on the appointments, and but I typically run the numbers um, on most of the deals that I go to, because I like to see it firsthand. And yeah, I'm just way more in the field. I like being on the go and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm. And you said you find the contracts, or at least the properties, on the MLS list?
yeah, yeah,
Or,
so, yeah. I'll do some deals with realtors as well.
so, I mean, that to me is still confusing. How do you know that a property that you can get a good cash flow from it?
Well, it's just a numbers game, right? So I mean, I guess, what are you asking? Sorry.
Like, okay, so if you see a house and you can look at maybe the property value of it, um, I guess what's kind of like the breakdown that you have, or do you have like a structure or formula to kind of say, hey, this property right here is worth investing in. I'm gonna get a good cash flow, and it's gonna be part of my portfolio.
Yeah, I mean, you basically, you're going to have to do a mortgage calculator and analyze how much you're going to be able to rent it for a month, and you're going to take, your annual rents and take off your annual costs, so taxes, maintenance, stuff like that. So a good number that I like to use is 35% of my annual rent. That's my cost, is what it's going to take to maintain the property. So then from there, you would do your return on investment. And, I try to stay from, in a perfect world, be at a 12% ROI, but I typically want to stay between 8 and 12 and higher, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but on a rental property.
What's like the most expensive property that you've bought or invested in?
Um, Man, I haven't done any like crazy, because once you start getting to more expensive properties, it's just more costs on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not against, buying a luxurious flip and all that, but like I said, once you get into a luxurious flip, you're gonna have to put luxurious material in there. So um, I don't think it really is worth it when you can buy, I try to stick to like, A minus to C neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
because I think, and even when you get into like Section 8 and stuff, like the cash flow is insane. So yeah, I wouldn't, and even when it comes to Airbnbs as well, like I've never seen to where the luxurious stuff is actually making more money than the normal stuff when you really break it down the numbers. And that's just my business model. And, some people probably think differently than that, but
And how do you deal with competition? Because I'm pretty sure you're not the only guy in town doing this. So how do you kind of compete for a property if someone else and if another investor wants to really get it? Is it
yeah,
just first come first serve?
no, definitely not. I mean, I basically, building rapport, relating with the person. I've gotten offers accepted that were lower than other investors just because they liked me. So I think building rapport is actually one of the most important things. You don't want to go in there as some investor who has a lot of money that's just going to make a lot of money on their house. You know what I mean? You have to actually relate with the person. And typically when I'm in a house on an appointment, I try to not even talk about the house that much, talk about other things and try to relate with the person down to a personal level.
Mm-hmm. So even though, real estate investing, a lot of it is numbers, there's more of a human approach to it too, right?
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely. And there's a psychological approach to it as well. So honestly, that's why I think I do deal with my competition pretty well, is because I just think I'm going to build better rapport than you will. And I'm going to get the deal over you. And that's pretty much just what my mindset is. So.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people can be really focused on the numbers,
Mhm.
but if you don't have that human touch, then it can mess up a lot of things, and that goes for, like I said, across any business model, any business. People like doing business with people that they like and
Yeah,
trust.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you were kind of learning all about this, what resources did you kind of like, besides your mentor, obviously, um, what podcast and books did you kind of dive into to kind of learn more about real estate investing?
Bigger Pockets and Max Maxwell was a huge guy that I've always listened to his podcast and watched YouTube videos. Grant Cardone, reading his books, Gary Vee, um, Andy Frisella, even though he owns a supplement company. But yeah, I mean, those are pretty much guys that I listen to almost every day, and they it's really just a whole mindset thing. It's not even really about no one has to be in real estate for me to pay attention to them.
Yeah. Has there ever been a moment where you're like, you can't, like, life goes by pretty fast. And have you ever thought like, damn, like this is real? Like, I can't believe I'm in that stage of my life where I was literally in a moment where I was on academic probation, went to California, did construction, things aren't looking so good. The whole world's against you, friends, family, but you kind of came through that and you're doing very, very well. Like, do you kind of think about that, or is life just going way too fast that you kind of just kind of forget about it?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I don't really think about it that often. But the way that you put it, I mean, yeah, that's pretty crazy. And yeah, I mean, life is moving fast. But I think I should definitely, maybe kind of reflect more on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to not gonna say distracted. I mean, I guess you could be distracted with like social media, what's going on with the world, with
Yeah,
COVID, with your business. But it's nice every once in a while to kind of take a step back and be like, oh, like this is actually happening, you
for
know?
sure. Yeah, I'm
Because
gonna do it next month in Cabo. So
yeah, because like of course, if you work on something that you don't like as an entrepreneur, you're going to create your own little trap, your own 9 to 5, and you're going to hate it, right? But
right.
when you work on something that you love, time just goes by so fast. And like that's why when I think when you're a kid with no responsibility, you're just playing, having a good time, and
Mhm.
that's why like you know time goes by so fast when you're I guess, I mean, time goes by so fast when you're an adult because you're doing so many things. But if you're doing something that you really, really love, you're in the moment, and the next thing you know, like you're working, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and you
Yep.
kind of have no time to reflect on your life. So it's kind of
Yeah.
cool just to look back and be like, hey, this is what I've really done. It's crazy.
For sure. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I think, a lot of entrepreneurs are guilty of that. And we should probably all take a step back and look at that for sure.
Yeah, because I remember, I mean, me personally, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm working on my way to become one. I
Yeah.
like talking to entrepreneurs and people who are hustling out there, and they all share like a very common trait where they're in their grind, and they can be stuck inside the whole day, and they don't get a fresh of get a nice air outside.
Yeah.
They kind of they can feel very, very anxious. In the long term, that can that be a good thing? I heard someone say, as an entrepreneur, as a really business sort of oriented person, there's trade-offs, and the trade-off is your health, business, and time, right? And
Yeah.
you can't have all three. if you want to really go ham on your business, then of course your health can be bad, because if you're only working, or if you're only sleeping like 4 or 5 hours a day, not going to the gym, not doing exercise, then in the long run, that's gonna hit you.
For sure. Yeah. And just the public service announcement, I believe in sleep. So, I'm in bed by 10:30 every night. So
Yeah, no, sleep is definitely important. And
definitely.
I was speaking about this the other day with someone else, that we were like, everyone says that you have to wake up at 4 a.m. Or work until 2 a.m. and wake up mad early, go to the gym, read a book. And, I think everyone has their own efficient way of working, right? And that's why a lot of people don't like the 9 to 5, because you're literally telling thousands, millions of people to work a certain way, and not everyone does that. Whereas people who are working from home right now, I'm pretty sure not everyone's literally working 9 to 5. They're probably working from 9 to 11, taking a 2-hour break, going for a walk, and then working again, and having a meeting at late night. I don't know. Everyone has their own schedule, and it's like a lot more relaxed. And I think because of that, people are a lot more productive.
Yeah. And that's a good point, because, everyone, all these motivational videos, you got to get up at 3 and, got to go crazy. But it is really what works best for you. And, I get up early, I get up from 5:30 or 7 and go work out. And that's just what I like to do. And cause I'm more of a morning person than I am a night owl. But maybe you enjoy staying up till 2 a.m., and sleep until 9. I mean, and there's not, you can work efficiently either way. It's really how you do it, so.
Yeah. Everyone has their own formula. For me personally, I like getting things done right away. For some reason, I kind of just realized like, hey, after 6 o'clock, or after, like, at least on the weekends, when I work on the weekends, after 6 o'clock, when I work from like 9 to 6 or whatever, my productivity goes down because I'm not mentally as sharp. Right. So I make sure like, hey, okay, let me play soccer, go hit the gym, come back a little bit more refreshed, and put in a couple more hours, because after that, it's just the workload or the efficiency is just completely diminished, and I can't do as much,
No, that's awesome that you realize that, because I mean, I think that's a lot of things that entrepreneurs struggle with, as well as noticing their flaws and correcting them. So I think that's super awesome that you know that, and that you're taking to improving it.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, like, we're living in our own bodies, but even though we might think we know ourselves, you don't really know yourself. I mean, someone peering in, someone outside your box, your partner, your friend, family, brother, I don't know, they can tell you more about yourself than yourself sometimes,
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Because you have like certain patterns that you don't subconsciously or consciously know about, but others are taking note of,
Yeah.
So yeah, Logan, I don't want to take too much of your time here. I think we learned a lot about, like, all your investment strategies, the BRRRR, wholesale real estate, what you're doing. If people want to like hit you up, find your social media accounts, or even give you a call, where can they go?
You can go to @LoganInvest on Instagram, and my Facebook and LinkedIn is Logan Haskett, Haskett. And to call me, the link is in my Instagram bio. It's super simple. You just click a time and schedule it. So
cool. And in terms of the Zoom kind of conference call, when is that going to go down? Do you know?
That should be coming within. Oh, see, I got a lead coming in right now. That should be coming within the next, I would say probably 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months of marketing and stuff. So.
And that's going to be on the same link that you have for your phone calls, or is it going to be a different link?
It'll probably be an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It'll be an awesome value to have, for sure. Only $49 a month. So.
But you're going to do how many meetings a month? Just one a month, or?
No, 3 or 4 times a month.
Okay, cool.
So
I think that's going to be a good added resource for anyone who wants to get into investing. But you're going to talk about literally everything, right? Down from like BRRRR, because you're doing multiple things now, right?
Yeah. And not even just real estate, just lifestyle in general, branding, mindset. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna cover everything. You know, it's not
Cool.
just real estate; it's about being an entrepreneur. So you
Yeah.
can be a freaking person on there that's selling your art, and you wanna, you know, it's gonna be really just. I want to gear it more towards entrepreneurship than just real estate. But yeah.
No, yeah, I definitely like the idea of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Logan, I really do appreciate you being here on the show.